Well, hello students. Tomorrow's class is going to be on learning objectives 4.3 and 4.4, which you pretty much can see in front of you. Now, 4.3 is going to involve the whole concept of international business. And as we all know, the primary key to a firm's success is based largely on how well that firm is managed. So the three basic decisions that a company must make when considering whether or not they want to go global are whether to go international at all, and when they do decide that, how much international involvement will they have? So when the organization is, we put together the business plan for the organization, the structure will have to do its best to meet the firm's global needs. So we're going to be talking about number one, going international, and then number two, we talked about this last class, gauging the international demand. Then adapting to what the customer needs, and then outsourcing and offshoring. So keep in mind when we go over this particular segment, a company needs to make three decisions when considering globalization. Number one, whether to go international at all. Number two, its level of international involvement. And number three, its organizational structure. The other thing is when you look at 4-3, the learning objectives in that area, B talks about the levels of international involvement. So a firm can enter the global marketplace through different levels of involvement. And that would be looking at exporters and importers, and we talked a little bit about that last class, international firms, and then multinational firms. And I think it's important that we also look at the international organizational structures, independent agents, licensing arrangements. We may not have time to go into all of that, like branch offices and strategic alliances. But one of the things that I want to emphasize here is that firms have the least control when they use independent agents or licensing arrangements. Branch offices and strategic alliances provide the firm with more direct control. Strategic partnerships, that is, companies forming partnerships with other companies that may be global. And one good way to develop local knowledge or gauge the market demand for the specific demographic that you're targeting. So that's what I'm going to cover in Learning Objective 4.3. And then Learning Objective 4.4, and we kind of touched on this in the last class, is explain the role and importance of cultural environment in international business. Now this stuff we're going to go over on Friday. I'll cover 4.3 tomorrow and 4.4 on Friday, but I'm giving this to you all now. So in Learning Objective 4.4, a major factor in the success or failure of international business activity is having a deep understanding of the cultural environment and how that environment affects business. So we're going to be looking at values, symbols, beliefs, and language, employee behavior across culture, and the first dimension in social orientation, which is a person's beliefs about the relative importance or the interest that's involved in different motivations and cultures. The second dimension is power orientation, and that's the belief that we have a relative importance of the interests of the individual versus the interests of the group. Then there's power orientation. The third dimension is uncertainty orientation. Uncertainty orientation is an emotional response to uncertainty and change, ranging from uncertainty acceptance to uncertainty avoidance. And the fourth dimension is goal orientation. Goal orientation is the manner in which people are motivated to work toward different types of goals. The fifth dimension is called time orientation, and that's the extent to which members of a culture adopt a long-term versus a short-term outlook on work, life, and other elements of society. So we're going to be looking at that as well. So we're going to be covering 4-3 on Wednesday, 4-4 on Friday, and you're not going to be responsible for 4-5. Okay, it's a really long chapter, and I think we'll have enough here to cover the general dynamics of the global marketplace. So everything I talked about in this video cam is outlined in this particular broadcast, okay, that I'm giving you now. So what I'm asking you to do is when you view the webcam, this is going to correlate to what you're seeing here in this podcast. Okay? Thanks. See you tomorrow.